Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about triangle congruency by hypotenuse leg. Now remember, the hypotenuse is a specific side of a specific kind of triangle, a 90-degree triangle, a right triangle. So our hypotenuse is always opposite our 90-degree angle. So if I have two triangles and I say, hey, these hypotenuses, hypoteni, one of the two, are congruent and they also have another leg that is congruent, then these triangles have to be congruent. There's no other way around it. If they have a hypotenuse that's congruent and another leg that is congruent, those triangles are congruent. So let's use this in a proof now. All right, grab your notebooks, copy these down, and let's get started. All right, we are given that JK is congruent to LK. JK is congruent to LK. KM is perpendicular to JL, right? KM is perpendicular to JL. That's this long one here. Okay, so we've gone ahead and written down our givens, right? The next step is, previously I was talking about proving triangles congruent in some of those videos. We do our givens and then we do our definitions, right? One of those definitions is actually perpendicular, because when you have perpendicular angles, you and I, we all know that those are 90-degree angles, but you have to explain that those are congruent to each other. So what we say is triangle KMJ, even if something seems like, oh, that is very obvious, and we all know that those are right angles, therefore they have to be congruent, you still have to write that down in a proof. You gotta, what's the word? Justify everything. So our right angles, talking and trying to, I didn't mean to do congruent there. This is definition of right angles, or definition of perpendicular angles. Okay, as I was explaining, you first have to say that those are right angles, because the very definition of perpendicular is that it creates these right angles, right? But for the third part, we have to say that KMJ is congruent to KML, because all right angles are congruent. All right angles are congruent. Again, it seems super obvious, but you still have to put it in your proof. All right, so then what else, looking at this, that we can look at? Well, we know that after our definitions, we do our obvious but not givens, things like vertical angles and reflexive property. And I see we have a reflexive property in here. We've got KM. So KM is going to be congruent to KM. KM is congruent to KM. Why? Because of the reflexive property. Reflexive property. All right. Now, looking at that triangle, we can see, oh, okay, we have a right angle, so this is a right triangle. The side opposite the right angle, the hypotenuse, those are both congruent, and they share a leg. So we can declare these guys are congruent. So triangle JKM is congruent to triangle LKM, just like it's asking us to prove right up here. And we can say that by hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse leg. Awesome. All right, friends, great work, and we will see you next time.